Chances are, if you're a fighter, you're making at least one of these three common mistakes I see fighters make during fight camp that cause them to lose muscle. You probably already know the first two mistakes, which are not having a structured resistance training plan and losing weight too fast. Now, those are topics for another day because today is all about the third mistake. It's a mistake that a lot of fighters easily slip into without realizing because of the way their food tracking app is set up by default. And that mistake is unintentionally reducing protein when you cut your calories. The reason this mistake often goes unnoticed is that most popular tracking apps like MyFitnessPal use percentages by default. Let me bring this to life with an analogy. Imagine you're trying to cut down on your spending. Would you immediately start trying to reduce your rent or your mortgage payments? Probably not, because these are fixed essential payments. You'd look to reduce spending on shopping, eating out, subscriptions, and other non-essentials first before trying to cut the essentials. Setting your macros based on percentages means that you cut the essentials just as much as you cut the non-essentials. In this video, I'll give you the solution, but first let me explain why it's a problem. As you lose weight, you will hit plateaus where you need to further reduce your calorie intake or increase your calorie output or both in order to continue to lose weight. It's estimated that for every 1 kilogram you lose, your energy expenditure decreases by about 20 to 30 calories and your appetite increases by about 100 calories. This is an adaptive mechanism to allow you to survive on lower energy intake to stop you dying during periods of low food availability. Evolutionarily, this is brilliant. However, if you're watching this video, you probably have the opposite of a low food availability problem. The reason you'll have heard me recommend high protein intakes when dieting is for three reasons. One, it helps support muscle mass maintenance, ensuring that weight loss comes primarily from fat mass. Two, it helps to support recovery from training. And three, it promotes satiety. High protein foods tend to be more satiating than high carb or high fat foods, and this helps to reduce hunger and makes it easier to stick to your diet. By setting your macros based on percentages, your protein intake gets lower as you reduce your calories. This is the complete opposite of what we need. And protein needs actually go up in a deficit. We want to maintain high protein intakes throughout the entire dieting period, so reducing calories from protein will be our last port of call in only the most dire of situations. Imagine this, you decide you're going to lose some weight. You download MyFitnessPal, you set your protein at, let's say, 25% of calories. If you begin your diet on 2,000 calories, with 25% of those being protein, that's a daily intake of 125 grams of protein. By the end of your diet, after reaching and overcoming a few weight plateaus, your daily calorie intake is now 1,600 calories. Keeping 25% of protein, your daily protein intake has now dropped from 125 to 100 grams of protein. If you're 60 kilograms, you would have started the diet at just over 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, which is ideal for a fighter trying to lose weight. I usually recommend 2 to 2.5 grams per kilogram of body weight for reference. However, by the end of the diet, you'd have dropped to just under 1.7 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight and would have fallen below the optimal range for fighters. For fighters who will tend to be fairly lean by the end of their diet and are engaging in high levels of intense training, protein needs are higher than that of the general population, as fighters need to support their high recovery demands and are also at a greater risk of losing muscle mass due to their intense training and leanness. Now, it's less of an issue for carbs and fats, but it still means that macros are reduced indiscriminately. For example, a fighter with a higher fat intake may want to reduce their calories from fat first rather than sacrificing carbs, as cutting carbs would negatively impact their training performance. It's not all doom and gloom though, because I have the solution for you. Firstly, you want to calculate your calories. Next, you set your protein and fat intakes based on grams per kilogram of your body weight and fill the remaining calories with carbohydrates. Now, stick with me. Rather than bore you to death with the lengthy calculations, I've created a spreadsheet you can use that will do this exact process for you. You don't even need to give me your email to access it because I'm feeling especially generous. Just head to jamesnicholnutrition.com/calculator to download it. For fighters, I recommend 2 to 2.5 grams per kilogram of protein, 0.5 to 1 gram per kilogram of fat, and the rest coming from carbohydrates. That carb intake would ideally be 3 to 5 grams per kilogram during fight camp or fat loss phases, or somewhere between 5 to 8 grams per kilogram out of camp or during maintenance phases. My calculator sets your initial macros as 2 grams per kilogram of protein, 1 gram per kilogram of fat. If you need to boost carbs a little bit, you can always reduce the fats to lower within that 0.5 to 1 gram per kilogram range. Next time you hit a weight plateau, make a 100 to 200 calorie reduction in fats primarily, and maybe carbs depending on where you're sitting in those ranges that I recommended, and keep protein the same. Using this approach means that your protein intake stays consistent throughout the calorie reduction process, allowing you to overcome those weight plateaus while still maxing out the satiety, muscle mass maintenance, and recovery benefits of a high protein intake. I have an entire podcast episode covering everything you need to know about weight plateaus. The link to that podcast will be in the description. It's episode 13. In summary, stop setting your macros based on percentages. Set them based on your body weight and protect your hard-earned muscle mass, and keep your hunger to a minimum throughout your next fight camp or dieting phase. If your diet results aren't matching the effort you're putting in, I would bet it's down to at least one of the 4 pillars that commonly sabotage dieting attempts: environment, strategy, lifestyle, and appetite management. If you click the link in the description, you can get your free personal fighter nutrition report. You'll answer 16 questions. You'll be scored on each of these 4 pillars. Not only that, but you'll also be given concrete action points specific to your weakest area that you can implement right now to fix these pillars and make your next dieting attempt a much smoother and overall less stressful process. So click the link in the description for your free fighter nutrition report. Thanks for watching.